us, tell them you want to see somebody different, because every year they say people just love y'all and they want you back, and we do appreciate it. But we love coming to Marlow and we love doing the show. Does anybody notice anything a little different this year? Those of you that come every year? Everything's out. Not everything. A lot of stuff's out. Everything's out. Today we're going to talk to you a lot about how designs are made, the mechanics of it. So important in design work, and we find people constantly that still don't have good mechanics. And they ask us repeatedly, how did you make that? Or how did you put that together? Or how many stems of that did you do? So we're going to break it down and give you literally almost piece by piece and how many's in there. And if you want to take notes, they've got tons of pens and pencils and paper, and you can make little notes. Please take pictures. We'll leave everything up. Everything is for sale. We'll have bid sheets. We'll slide a bid sheet under it. The bid sheet, in case you don't know how that process works, the bid sheet has the wholesale starting price, the wholesale price of the materials that's in the design. And it's actually already on the tag for me. This has $45 in it. You can start the bid at $45. If you want it, you write Kathy's Flowers, $42. Susie Jones wants it, and she's from Stacy's Flowers, and she writes Stacy's Flowers, $48. And then when we call time, whoever's name's at the bottom of that list, that's who gets the designs, okay? But your labor's already done. They're ready to go. You can buy a whole vignette, take it home, set it up. You've got a whole Christmas look started, if not done. So we're excited to be here. We want to thank Jim and Linda, and I'm going to thank all her crew, everybody. Thank you all so much. The hospitality is always incredible here. The food today is going to be incredible also. We're doing barbecue, and it's good barbecue, and you will enjoy the food. Hi, girls. I asked them what they was doing sitting around the corner. She said, we can see. But anyway, we're going to get started this morning. Please ask questions if you have any questions. They're doing a live feed today, or not a live feed, but we're videoing and recording. And hopefully that may turn into a video that will go onto Facebook and such, and that can even be linked possibly to your shops. That's our intent, so that you can go on and you can see all the designs. He's filmed everything. He'll be filming everything, and you can go back onto your Facebook account and pull up Marlow Floral, and you'll be able to see these designs, and maybe you think about something that you've seen that you like but you forgot what it was. You'll be able to go through that video and see it, and then you can call Marlow and say, hey, I loved all that Redbird stuff they did. I want to buy this, 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 and that's the intent, is to make it more accessible to you all to see the product and the design work and such that we've done today and everything. All right, we're going to get started. Everybody excited? Yes. Anybody have Christmas trees up yet? She does, I do. One down here. Yeah, it's time. The selling season is so short for any holiday. You know, the way the market is nowadays. About the time we get fall up and we get all excited about fall, we're just running Christmas to death. Thanksgiving gets completely left out, squeezed in there. So Rena's had her trees up in their store for 2 weeks already. And, you know, she didn't beat Hobby Lobby, but she came close, you know. They've been up since May. So that's okay too. That's okay too. But anyway, we're going to get started. We're going to talk about mechanics, what's in the product. We'll tell you what the bid sheet start price is. We're going to talk a lot about display and things today. How to display. Rena's excellent on display and such. She is a freelance designer. She works for me a lot. She works for Greenwood Industry or Greenwood Flower Shop a lot, and she's available. We call her the free-range chick. So she just roams all over the place. So anyway, let's get started. Rena, if you'll bring me that first piece, and we're going to talk about everything. This particular design we did in this reindeer sleigh, and just kept it real natural with just a little bit of pine and the wonderful branches in this and such. This particular piece has got more or less just about one full stem. Jim over on this side and I will do a lot of telling you where stuff is. We learn where stuff is, and hopefully it helps guide you that if you want to buy stuff, you're not running all over looking for it. But this particular piece was just one bough, and I just disassembled the entire bough, and it's just like a swag piece, and just reworked it all in, put the branches in. This particular piece, when you look at this mechanic-wise and such, the openness of this piece is a little hard to work in, to get foam in properly and such, but cut the foam, we stack the foam, it's fairly deep into here, so I stacked the foam up. I used Green Star foam, less expensive of sort foam in the bottom, and then I used my silk foam in the top to do all my design work in the silk foam. I'm just one of those people that likes the silk foam to design in. We've got a lot of people that love star foam, period. And that's great, and it's good. It's good and sturdy, it holds up well, it'll last forever. But in this case, I stacked it with the Green Star foam because I didn't want to waste my silk foam all the way down in there, so I stacked it with just small pieces of green silk foam and then put, or star foam, then put my silk foam in the top. The horns, the way they're designed in this piece, you have to kind of wedge it in there, but then went back with that one bough and just cut it all apart, took it all apart, and then just redesigned it in. Gave good length coming out to give it some width, some great height with the branches and such. The berries and such and the cones and all were already on that pick. So this is just one bough cut apart and merely just nothing but greenery, the little cones and the sticks, okay? And all. This is $42 on that little piece. All right, I'm gonna grab the little duck back here. These little ducks, these were just really fun pieces. This is a set of trays that comes 3 trays to a set. These are up in the middle section up here where all the gift items are and such, containers and things. This, I took just about a 6-inch piece of foam, pan glued it. Is everybody familiar with pan glue? I'm always amazed at people that ask me about glues that they don't know about pan glue. Pan glue is the little small skillets that you'll see that has the glue melting in it. That can be a yard sale find of a electric skillet that somebody's getting rid of. Anything like that that'll heat up that glue will work. Don't try to take glue sticks. Here's something a lot of people have done, I see. Take glue sticks and cut them up in little pieces and put them in your glue pan. It's not the same. When you try to work with that glue, it just strings like crazy coming out of that glue pan. It's meant to feed through that hot glue gun, okay? So they sell pan glue here. It's little pellets, and it says pan glue. And there's several types. There's little pillows, there's little chips, there's all kinds of pan glue. But when you're buying that, make sure that it says pan glue, not hot glue, cold glue, etc. So in this case, took a 6-inch piece of foam, dipped it in my pan glue. I have what I call a witch's wand. It's a stick, and you take a pipe cleaner, and you roll that pipe cleaner on the end of that stick real tight, and that makes you a little wand. And in Arkansas, we call them witch's wand. Don't ask me why. And you can dip that in that glue and spread that glue with your little witch's wand. Some people will use paint brushes. If you use a paintbrush that is really good, expensive bristles. Trust me. They brush, they will last. You buy those little dollar paint brushes and you put it down that pan glue, and when you come up with your little thing, there's no bristles left. They're done gone. It just eats them right off, and it really does. So if you're going to do that, use a good, expensive paintbrush, which is kind of crazy. So that's why we use a little stick with a pipe cleaner rolled on it. So we dip that foam in the glue. I took my little witch's wand, rake off most of the glue back in the pan, put it in my container. Greening, here's something years ago, and this is my almost 50th year in the floral business. I started right out of high school, and through the years you just do stuff and you learn stuff and you go to schools and you attend programs like this and you just learn little tidbits, and all these years sometimes the light just comes on. And here's something that we do that's very wasteful, I think, and I did it for years. We will put that foam in there, and what's the first thing we do next? Design-wise, we green it, or we grab the Spanish moss, or we grab the sheet moss, and we cover that foam all up with that moss. And then we go to designing. And when we get through, hopefully, you don't even see the moss. We've wasted that moss. So one day the light come on, and I thought, why am I always greening that with all that moss and stuff, and I don't even see it, and it's wasted. So what I do now is I put my foam in. In this case, I cut 2 really heavy pine boughs. Just inexpensive. We had some garlands back there. Jim and Linda had a bunch of just garlands that were just onesies. And so we cut them all up. Rena especially loves cutting up garlands. And that's what we used for a lot of the greenery and a lot of these designs was just garlands cut up instead of having a lot of individual picks, although we have a lot of individual picks that we love and we buy every year. But in this case, I took that piece of foam and I just took 2 of these big pine boughs and I just bent them C-shaped. And I just stuffed them on each side of my foam just to kind of cover it, a way that you could do it. Wouldn't even have to do it that way. But then we go through and we design with our fresh greenery, our silk greenery, our materials. This little vine here, I love this vine. This vine, we've still picked everything. This little vine is a garland that you'll find over there in the fall stuff, and it's just a big old heavy mess of this stuff. Kind of similar to angel vine. It's a little heavier, a little thicker. It's kind of a burgundyish red tone to it, which I love. It's got a pretty burgundy tone. This stuff will cling to anything. If Rena would let me, I'd throw it on her and you just, you know. But what I love about this is that you can just tuck it in. It's going to stay. There's no mechanics of trying to get it to stay. It's just going to stay. So we just weave it all in among. Then I took all these little iced branches, inserted them, and just encompassed this so that this little duck looks like it's in its natural habitat of cold winter nesting, okay? And then just work that pick again into this. So this was, again, 1 pick plus a few extra pieces of greenery, small piece of foam. The duck is pan glued again right on top of the foam. When I finish the design then, back to the mosses and such, when I get through, if I see little tidbits of foam showing, I'm pulling little tiny wads of foam and tucking in to hide that moss, to hide the foam, instead of mossing it to begin with and wasting all that $2 or $3, $4, $5 of foam or moss that we're trying to cover up foam. It's going to get hid with most of our materials to begin with. All right.
You ready for it?
Yep. I'm sorry, Rena, how much was that? Say that again. The little vine, I honestly don't know what that's called. And it's a big, long, heavy. When you go up into the fall room up there, it's on this side of the aisle, and it's in a box, and it's about this big around, about yay long, and it's just all gnarled up together, okay? For you. All right. Now, we're back to that tray again. This is one of the other trays that is complement to the small tray. This wonderful Canadian goose basically did the same thing here. Foam, did that same pick. We used that wonderful vine again, and here's this vine just tucked into this. Let me get this little guy inserted. I'm just going to break this loose. And the thing about this stuff, it will pull apart. It does make a mess, but pull it apart gently, and you can just kind of keep pulling this off. If it's too long, you want to break it, you can just snap it. But it's just wonderful stuff. And then just go back in. Let's get this back in foam. But I love this stuff. An angel vine, which is another little vine that's wonderful. But you can just work this stuff in and it just stays. You don't have to do a lot of mechanics of getting that to stay. And then we've used, again, over in the fall section, went into some of the magnolia that's in this fall tone. Work that into this. This little cone here, a lot of stuff. We pick everything in, but I glue a lot of stuff too. Still pick. This little particular pod was on a garland that was a one and only. So if y'all get to looking for these, you're only going to get them in these few designs because it was a little garland we cut up. But it's a wonderful little pod that we've worked into these designs. And this has 4 pods, 2 frosted pine cones, and 1 of the boughs that we used, and then the magnolia worked into that with our Canadian goose. This piece is $70. The thing about this, buying these vignettes like this, you can take this home, take a minimal markup on it, make a little money on it, and move on. You have no mechanics, you have no labor in it. They're ready to go. All right, Rena, we're going to go to the snowman end. Any questions, anything? Everybody good? Let's go snowman, then we'll come back to those. Let me just start with this little guy.
Oh. Duh. I forgot I was doing that.
She's a free-range chick. She's a little slow. Rena and I have been friends 25 years. We've worked together in the shop together. We have freelanced together. We have designed showrooms together. We've done shows together. We have done shops together. You name it, we have had a lot of fun. Her husband, I think, loves me in his own way. And my wife loves Rena in her own way. But we're fortunate that we have spouses that just know that we can travel and work and just dear friends. Yeah, we even get teary-eyed sometimes. We've got, and it's wonderful to have people like that in your life. We were talking this morning about we have friends that have no friends, maybe but us, and that breaks my heart. But she and I, so today if we're talking catty at each other, y'all know we love each other. We're just having fun. Yeah, we've laughed all weekend. This little guy has got $19 in him, okay? Can't beat that. I could probably get $45 for that real easily in our store. So, but again, our little cheat sheet thing that tells me the price. How do y'all feel about black in Christmas? Are you okay with it? Yeah, yeah, it's okay, yeah. I took a bunch of pictures of these. My wife has been in Disney and Universal this week. She is a travel agent, along with being my bookkeeper and everything. She does travel. And she was at Universal this week, and I took all these pictures and I sent them to her yesterday. She was flying home and I sent them to her, and she said, I love the red, but I'm not sure about the black. And she's one of those people, she wouldn't like the black in it. But some of the hottest trends going, especially last year, a little bit the year before, but especially last year and this year, has been the black. Mixing the blacks and the pewters and the silvers, and I mean, it gets beautiful, it gets elegant. It's not for everybody. Every area is different. We're in Russellville, which is right in the middle of Interstate 40 in Arkansas. Rena's Fort Smith, Greenwood area, which is right there on the Oklahoma line. I probably couldn't give black away in my town. It's just a very traditional town. We do well with pewters and silvers, don't do real well in my area. But anything that's woodsy, because we're woodsy in our area, we're on the lake, a lot of campers and cabins and all that. Anything redbirds, traditional Christmas, do great with it. But anytime we introduce something a little different, but I'm not afraid to do it and try it, you know. In our town, we're a 5-year town. They hate it the first year. They sort of like it the next year. They buy it the 3rd year. The 4th year, they're tired of it. And the 5th year, it's in the yard sale, you know. So that's kind of way, and we've learned, and you know, you learn your towns and you learn your customer base, and you kind of know, you can almost feel out what they're going to do and how they're going to react to product coming into your store. But I'm not afraid of black. I would introduce black in my store, but they'd probably say, I love that, but could you take the black out? Yeah, yeah. But anyway, fun look. These little containers are great. Merry Christmas. The little cone piece over here is a tree. Rena, hold up that little single cone. That's a little sweet cone that says, let it snow. And here we've done just, this particular piece, we've done just 2 picks of greenery. These berries, these red berries are a great value. I don't think, we didn't bring any in here, did we? Maybe you got a box. Yeah, hand me that box, Rena. Or one of the, just the stem of the berries. These berries are a great value. She's just a little slow.
And they're in 2 sizes.
Yeah.
I think that's the bigger size.
Yeah, this is the larger stem. What I love about stuff like this is, I know, I'll get you a new one. She's panicking. It's okay. It's okay. I call her Love. It's okay, love. It's okay. She gets, yeah. But anyway, what I love about garlands, picks, long sprays and all, don't take the full value of that pick and stem it, put a pick, and cram that whole thing in something if it's not necessary. I've got 2 arrangements here real easy. I possibly have got 3 little somethings here. So always watch. I always tell people too, when you're buying product and such, I buy this way. This is just a Joe thing. When I'm buying product and I pull up a stem of berries, the first thing I do is count how many stems I can get off that. If it's got 4 stems and it's $4 a stem, I may pull up the next berry beside it and it's got 12 of these I can rip off, and it's $3.75. I'm getting more value for that. So when I'm buying, that's how my mind works. I look at that. When I buy bushes, count the stems, 12, and a lot of times good salespeople tell you, oh, that's a 14 head stem bush, or it's a 12 head, or whatever. That's the way my mind works. I count stems to see, break it down, figure the cost, figure what's the best value. But I love this. And in this case, we've got, these were actually left in 3s. So this was done, I'll give you those back. Congratulations. Bless her heart. She's going to be quiet all the way home today. She'll just not talk to me. But I just picked that like so, and these are worked in just in little groupings. 3 in the top, 3 here, there's 2, and there's 1. The little millimeter balls that we've used in these, and of course terminology, orbs. I love it when people come in and they say, oh, I love those. And I said, aren't they those coolest orbs? And she goes, orbs? And I said, the ball balls, orbs. You know, train your customers. Makes you sound smart, makes you look good. You're not going to find that in any discount store, orbs. They're going to say, do you have those red Christmas balls? Yeah, they're over on aisle 2. Yeah, orbs. So in this case, we've done 2 of the larger orbs in the back there. We've got a smaller red here, a black, a black. This is a black pick, and it is in the room right above us, down on the end. And this particular is a pick that's got probably 6 or 8 of these little orbs on one pick. We've pulled them apart and used them in 2 or 3 different things. The little snow branch, this is one little snow branch, and again, that little snow branch will pull apart. It's got 4 or 5 pulls on it. This little particular snow pick is a nice longer pick. Cut it apart and did 3 little pieces in that. A little bit of pine just tucked in, a little bit of holly. One of the, I went absolutely blank, hydrangea, magnolia. Hydrangea. This little hydrangea, sorry, just went blank again. This little hydrangea has got a little frosted look on it. Hand me the little church, Rena. Take your glitter glue or any kind of a light adhesive glue. We needed some glitter, and I didn't have any glitter. And this church, we were going to do something with it, and it was sitting over there, and I said, oh, we got glitter. I went over and I took that and I sprayed it with our glitter glue, and I tilted this little church up. Can you see it? It's coated in glitter. Coated. Put you a newspaper under it or something to catch it, because it's going to have a ton of glitter that you can glitter others. So if you catch yourself in your shop and you don't have that wonderful little dusty glitter in the shop to use, find something got glitter on it. I moved right on. You know, we're impatient as designers. When you know you want something and you can't find it, and you know you got it in the shop, but you know how that goes. You know, I wanted glitter and I wanted it on that flower, and I wasn't going to wait and I wasn't going to go look or ask. I just grabbed that church, sprayed it, dusted it, moved on. But anyway, wonderful little container here. Be sure to check out all this line of containers, the little Let It Snows. And again, this is $19 materials in that guy. And also, Rena turned him on, but I meant to mention this, all the little churches, they light up. So they're really sweet. You could build this into a whole look with little lit villages. And if you do something like this, we didn't build anything today, but if I built a piece and I wanted to insert this in it, just set it in. You'll be able to look at this closely, and I purposely have left this showing because I want to talk about it and then leave it to let you see. This piece is built with foam, and then I cut a little 4-inch block of foam and glued it on top of the other foam to raise this tree up. So we would do the same thing here. We would set this in, build around it. When the selling point comes with the customer, you lift it out, you turn on the church, you set it back in the design, and that's just another little plus for the customer to see that they get an added bonus with the little figurine or whatever you're using to light up. Okay, so here again we've used a wonderful little wooden container. These comes in sets of 2. It says Let It Snow and such on here. something that we do in our shop that's vital important. How many of you get asked in your shop, do you do custom arrangements? People ask you that. Do they ever ask you that? They do in our store all the time, and I don't know why. We pride ourselves in saying everything in our store is made by our designers. It's not discount stores, it's not Hobby Lobby, Kmart, Walmart, whoever, Dollar General. It's all custom done in our store. Signage is so important. We have signs everywhere in our store, giving people, painting a picture of what we do. So in this case, we do customs. We do custom arrangements. We put on Facebook occasionally. I'll run a thing on Facebook and says, please bring in your old church arrangements. We do a minimal charge. You wouldn't believe how many churches drag in mess. And once we get it, these are wonderful little easels. They come in a red and a white cream color. They're $20 for the two, so they're $10 a piece. But a great little tool to write if you've got somebody that can draw cute, do cute little things on here, whatever pertains. And like in this case, we name all of our looks. We'll do anywhere from 7 to 10, 12 different looks in our shop. This is something that we do that I have found the last probably 5 years especially, when 9/11 hit and the recession and everything went crazy, and I know a lot of y'all out here were much harder hit than we were. Russellville was one of those towns and areas that we really survived that era pretty good. Yes, it was slower than normal, but we didn't just die off. But signage is so important. When we do Christmas, my shop will look just like this. I buy enough materials to make a look and a few extra in case I have customs that come in. I don't buy cases. I do sometimes if it's good value, and I think it's something I'll use, yes. But I buy enough to do a look. I buy enough to do a look. We'll do 7, 10, 12. 2 years ago we did 14 different looks. We'll use fireplaces in our shop. We have tons of doors. We'll use one piece of furniture, and we build little vignettes. Customers come in, and every time they turn a corner, it's a whole different look, but it's a minimal amount of product that looks super. But then we give everything a name, because people will come in and they'll shop, and they may call back and they'll say, in your Cardinal Jubilee Christmas area, you had an arrangement, I'd like to buy that, can you deliver that to a friend? Name everything, give people, paint them a picture, give them an idea. Plus it kind of helps you when you're designing, and like Rena and I, when we pull product to do these designs, we'll pull it, pile it up, put the props together, props and things with it and all, and then we name it, because it helps us when we're working to say, when we were setting these tables, we were maybe saying that red and white look, and she said, which one? And I said, oh, the Cardinal Jubilee look. Well, she knows exactly what I'm talking about, where I'm going, what I'm doing. So do the same thing in your shop. It really makes a difference to your customer base to be able to see these cute names. And we had a lot of fun coming up with the names. Linda's, she's standing back here. We laughed our heads off coming up with names. None of them were ugly, but some of them were kind of ridiculous, and we just laughed about them, and then it would hit you. Yeah. And just instantly we would come up with these names. All right, so again here we've got a wonderful little wooden container, comes in a set of 2. Our foam with a little 4-inch block of foam glued on top of that piece, which raises our little Let It Snow tree even higher. And then we've used 2 of the hydrangeas, 2 poinsettias, plaid ribbon, wonderful ribbons. Be sure that you check out Jim's ribbons upstairs, has some incredible ribbon up there. There's also some show special bags they've done up there that are 6 rolls, I believe, to a bag. They've got a special price on that. It's current ribbon. It's nothing that's outdated or anything or out of season. It's brand new stuff. They were bagging it this week while we've been here, and some great ribbons. So be sure you check that out. And then this little pine bough glittered is also a pick that has these 3 pieces on it. Pull that all apart, 2 in the ends, 1 coming up, a little bit of the snow branch in, some of the wonderful berries, and then went back with that little black orb, scattered him all the way through. And here's a little tidbit. We've got a full hydrangea here in the back. This hydrangea was full, but it was too heavy out here. I wanted it draping out and coming out of there, but it was just too big of a bloom, and it looked like a lot of weight just out here doing this. So Rena suggested that I cut him up, so I went in and just pruned him, thinned him, then recupped those pieces I cut and tucked them in right here in the front. So he's got a full, about a half, and then a little 4th tucked in here. And then again, those wonderful red berries picked into it and such. So just a wonderful little Let It Snow arrangement. And this little guy is 58 for all the materials and design in that. And just some wonderful plaid ribbon. I've left this foam exposed, so if you get up close and you want to look at this, you can see how this foam, again, the little Let It Snow is pan glued right onto that foam, so it's good and stable. It's going to stay there. And years and years and years ago for Earl Moore, and many of you may know Earl at Norman. Years ago, 30 years ago, he used to do the biggest, grandest Christmas show. It was held in the Coliseum, and there'd be 400 or 500 people at this thing. Well, one day the designers were all working in his store, building for the show, and he was over there just going at it with all these ribbons and just doing all this stuff, and he was taking clothespins and gluing these ribbons to a clothespin, and he had boxes of them. And somebody said, Earl, what are you doing? He said, I'm making lampshade decorations. Well, it was 30 years ago, and I thought it was real dumb. But, you know, it was just...
It wasn't when I did it.
No. It's cute now, and they're cute, but his weren't cute. Well, he finally got the idea that we were going to spill the beans on to the audience about these lampshade decorations. He took lamps down there and was going to clip these things on lamps, and it was just a bow with some greenery. It wasn't a big deal, but he had made boxes of them, and we just couldn't comprehend this. And he said, I sell them every year, sell plumb out. And even 30 years ago, I thought it was just the dumbest thing I'd ever seen or heard. So anyway, we decided, because he went on about it so much, and was just going on at it, that we just decided we're having fun with this. So we went to Walmart the night before the show, and we bought poster board. And we took magic markers, and we wrote lamp on one of them, shade on one, decorations on one. And he got up there pitching the sales pitch about these decorations and didn't say what they were, most marvelous, and went on and on and on. Of course, he was out in front of us, and we were up on a panel with tables designing. And when the time came, he said, I bet not one person can tell me what these are. And we went with our signs, and 500 people went, lampshade decorations. He looked around at us, and of course we had our signs up, but anyway, he was thoroughly disgusted with us. But anyway, are you all familiar with bind wire? Yes. This is heaven right here. Forget wire, forget tape and wire, forget anything you tie anything with, forget it. Most wonderful stuff in the whole world. This little stuff, let me think. Yes, it's on this wall right over here behind Mark. He's pointing. It comes in tan, brown, and green. Tan, brown, and green. Heaven.
Required. It's a law.
Yeah, you just have to have this. Now, I will say this. Don't take this tag off, and don't find right here where it comes out of here. Reach in here in the center and find the center. Y'all done it? They're laughing down here, and I know, I hadn't even talked to them. I know why. Because when you take this off and you find that thing, sometimes this whole roll goes, and it's the biggest mess there ever was. You've been there, done it, hadn't you? Yeah. Find the inside little piece, which this is all, let me just kind of randomly just put this in here. This little, you just buy this like this, and you take your finger and you just kind of coil it, and you'll find it. Pull it up about that far and don't go no further. Then when you're making, like last week before, I was getting ready for weddings. We have 2 monster weddings next weekend. My daughter sent me a text yesterday. We had a big wedding at home yesterday. It was one of my daughter's weddings. And I sent her a message and I said, how did your wedding go? And she said, wedding was fabulous. Bride was thrilled. No food. I went, oh no. Caterer didn't show up. Barn wedding, about 400 guests. Anyway, long story short, the bride had told them 5:30, and the caterers thought 5:30 arrival, 5:30 was dinner. So I did never get a text back from my daughter. She was working the wedding, so I don't know if they showed up at 5:30 to start setting up, but the guests were already there, and she showed me pictures of everybody just hanging out. They had punch and stuff, and I guess whatever, beverages. When you make a bow, you always end up, the way I make a bow, it's like a figure 8. And then you end up with your ribbon. In this case, because the last loop, when I make a bow, the last loop's on this side toward me, my ribbon printed is always upside down. So I'll cut that off and I'll turn it around so that my little birds are looking at me, or print, or whatever it is. I didn't cut that out very good, but then I'll cut the other piece off and turn my ribbon so that my birds are print is coming down. Bind wire. That's the only reason I did this, was to show you this stuff. Just cut you a little length of that, whatever you need. Talking about the weddings last week, the week before. Next week's weddings, I have all my stuff, bows and everything for corsages, wristlets, everything is tied and done with this. I'm going to just pass this little piece of this around. Y'all just float it around in the audience and get a feel of this. It is super beyond easy to tie with. And again, it comes in all these colors, but it is the most wonderful stuff. You know, we used to use wire. We'd tape a wire so that it mechanically looked clean and neat. Bind wire. We tie everything with bind wire now. It has a little wire in it, so security as far as tying it onto decorations and things on lampposts and whatever are wonderful. If somebody needs a bow lesson, I don't mind showing you afterwards a bow. I learned this. This is an Oklahoma bow. I learned this at Sand Springs, Oklahoma. It's where I learned Coble's flowers. But anyway, that's how to tie a bow. So you can pass that and just get a feel for that. But anyway, keep bind wire in mind. It's wonderful, and it's on that wall right over there. And in this case, she's used just a lantern. You could use any lanterns. Did a little pick. Again, it's just that pick with that little stem twisted on the top. It's just set around a wreath that's a pre-made, that's got a little bit of materials. Just set that in. We'll get it even. Wonderful little lit ornaments. They turn on and off the top. They're great. We'll be talking about those more in the next section.
So we use these risers. They come in a set of 3. Here's the larger one, and then the 2 there that make great little display pieces, as well as functional pieces to hold things if you want.
I thought this little guy is cute. He's cute. And he plays music too. He's cute. We don't need you singing though, Santa. All right, we're going to move into the red birds. This was a fun little look. The wonderful little sugar-coned trees. There's pattern with burlap and just iced. He's got them with the burlap, iced with the little stars, all the matching stars. That stuff's all above us up here in this room. Anything done with the natural woods, the deer, all the wonderful cutouts they're doing now with all the natural woods, mix all that in with this look, just to bring a real glitzy look to a burlap look. We're still doing a lot of that in our area. Some burlap has kind of died off a little bit, but this new frosted look, I love that. The wonderful little boxes with the handles, that's a set of 3. That's a wonderful little box collection. Again, label all your designs, put a name on the table, Cardinal Jubilee, because these guys are happy. These particular little trees was just a frosted tree, is what I started with, was just a frosted tree. Then I took the wonderful little birch pieces. These come 3 to a little collection. What I liked about these, I bought these in the years past, and some of you may have had them too. They had glued all that stuff together. So you had 3, but they are all glued together, and if you tried to separate them, you tore the little birch paper bark off, which you could put the glue there and turn it over and all that. But I found that when I turned it over, then I had the seam where the ribbon come up and met showing, and I didn't like that. Jim, what I love about these this year is that when you cut them, they all come apart. They're individuals. So that's a good plus for designers because it's all separate. These are the small ones. They do come in the bigger ones, but this is the small ones, and there's 3 just diagonally glued into this tree. I pan glue just about everything because it's quick. My pan glue is there, my little witch's wand, my ornament, take my wand, put it, drop that wand. I'm not picking up a glue gun. burning. Pan glue too, if you get it on you, not near as hot. Won't burn you at all like a glue gun will. But the convenience of a glue pan is that it works a lot quicker. Unless you pour half a pan on you, then yeah, it's going to be bad. Then we worked in, this tree actually comes with 1, 2, 3 little red birds on it, but I enhanced the tree a little bit more, got additional red birds and glued additional red birds onto it. And then again, that wonderful little vine mess that we used in this look down here, I just took that and just tucked it in and just swirled it all around in this tree to give all that little natural look to the tree. The little pine cones that are glittered, sugared in this, I call it sugared, snowed, sugared, but the little snow cones also is in this room over here in the middle of the room. They're a long branch and there's probably 15 or 20 pine cones on one branch, varied sizes. This has one pick, all cut off that stem, dipped in my pan glue or with my little wand, and then just stuck into the tree. Added the additional red cardinals to it, and then to give it just a fun base, I took one of the little stars and glued the star onto the bottom of it just to create that little ambiance that maybe my tree is decorated with all these. This is an open type star. This is a closed star, so there's 2 or 3 different varieties up there. And then I just pan glued that onto the bottom just to carry that whole theme through with the stars. And then Rena, where is, oh, right back here, okay. That's the bigger tree. That little guy is $39. And then this is a swag, and all of the redbird stuff is over here out into the showroom in the front on this side back here. This is a swag that I merely just fluffed, and then I took the long birch branches, run them through, 1 diagonal, 2 across, put 3 little stars in. These I pan glued in lightly, but then took some of the little silk branch and just run through and just gave it a little extra stability, mechanics to keep them in good. And then took a little red bird, was actually on a limb of the silk, but I popped him off, glued him out here because I wanted him setting out here. Added another larger red bird, a couple of those in there. And then again took all that wonderful vine and just danced through that. There's $32 of material there. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you've got 32 in material. What would you sell it for in your shop, and how do you figure labor?
30%. Now, when I'm buying pre-mades like this, I cheat. I'm a real visual person. I might make this piece, and let's say I've got $32 in it. I know in my shop I could probably get $45 for that. I mean, like, say this is $32. I could get $45 to probably $55 for that in my shop real easy. So today, if I'm understanding what you're asking me, if you took this home, what kind of labor am I going to put on it, although you're not?
No,
okay.
I'm asking you.
If you made this in my shop, 30% labor on top of this, 30% labor. Now, if I add my 30% labor and say this comes, it's okay, that happened last night too. Linda, we told you to stay away from things, hon. Yeah. Yeah, command hooks don't work real well on concrete, rough concrete. It will stick to smooth concrete, but not rough concrete. Another tidbit you learned today, okay? If you have concrete walls in your shop and they're textured, command hooks don't work real well. They actually do work really well, but these walls are textured, so they don't. Back to your question. If I had $32 in this and I put 30% labor on this and such, and I tabulate that and that came to, say, $45 or whatever it is, I can look at that visually in my mind and think, I can get $59 for that easy. It's going to be $59. That gives me a little leeway, too, that at the end of the season, if it's left, I know I can mark it down 20% or something, and I'm still not ahead. I'm still not. I'm not marking it $39.95 and at the end of Christmas 50% off, and I'm losing everything. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, they had a rod. I didn't actually check that. Good question. I don't think there's a rod in these. It feels like foam, and it's wrapped with a little birch. We have a wedding in November that I had to find a company that would that made birch ribbon in 100 that we have a 30-foot tent, 3 poles in a 30-foot tent that we're doing trees on these poles, actual tree branches. Have a man making a metal piece that will slide up it with things coming off that my tree branches are going in. We'll use Italian ruscus to drape it to build the trees. Why was I telling you that? Because it had something totally to do with what you asked me.
The metal were in the birch last.
Sorry. Floral brain. I was going to tell you something that totally related to that. Oh, the birch ribbon. We're wrapping those metal poles of that tent with the birch bark to make these look like birch trees. Picture a girl brought me. So there's ways to hide mechanically poles and tents and things. But no, these I don't think have a rod in them. Doesn't feel like they do and such. But anyway, so we took our little wooden crates here and just accented with a little pick. This is a wonderful little pick that's in that cardinal look. You'll find the swag, the Christmas trees, different picks and such, and this is a little small pick, but just take anything when you're building that display and just add those to it.
Now, did they automatically have the birds?
Yes, the little birds are on all of the stuff. Yeah, so when you're building that display, have all that ready, and I always too, we don't have room here to do it, but I would take, like especially these picks, I might have a big piece of cabinetry here that had drawers that pulled out. I'd open those drawers and I would fill them full of these picks. So that customer thinks I can do that at home. She's going to buy that stuff, you know, make it accessible. Our biggest thing I think that we do, and I used to do it 2 years ago, is I'd have all my store displayed, but we didn't keep picks and goodies and all the accessories out that was in some of the displays to the point it was all in the back. Well, most of the customers don't go to the back, and if they don't see it because they've got to have that picture painted in front of them, here's a cabinetry filled with red birds of 2 or 3 kinds, the glass red birds, the little smaller ones, just variety of materials there, the little stars, everything that's I've built with is there for them to literally pick up and buy, and you'll be shocked how much stuff people will pick up and buy. Okay, here we took the larger cone in a little different style, took a little small star. This has just a little small piece of silk greenery glued to the top because that little star will adhere to that better than it will gluing to the glittered tree. And then just 2 picks and 2 picks, which is this little small pick we're talking about. There's 2 here, a little nest. These little nest right here, if you're looking for this nest, it was a one and only. It was a branch that had 3 nests on it. It was a little iced nest that they brought us to use. And again, this pick was just some woodsy stuff we were cutting off of, and I run that up just to pull that woodsy look up. The cone itself, I took some of the iced branches, 2 or 3 of those, and just run up in that cone so that the cone actually has got some materials in it just to fill it up so it didn't look so empty and naked. And then I put this one on a larger star. So that's glued onto a larger star. And again, just carrying that same theme all the way through with our Redbird Jubilee. This one's $43. All right. Rena, let's jump here. We'll finish this, and is lunch up there and ready? Jim has a special. Jim, how much was the pitcher and the glasses on the cart here? What was the price on those? $6 a case. So you get the pitcher, the weapon, and glasses for $6.
Oh, wow. 6 glasses.
6 glasses. Yeah, so a little special there. All right. Yeah, the weapon. I know how you women feel when you wear strap things. I've got this wire, and it keeps sliding over my shoulder, and I'm thinking, this is, sorry. I understand what y'all go through now. This is driving me crazy. That's for the dinner bell. Yeah, is it gone? All right. Hand me this little guy, Rena. This little collection we really enjoyed doing. This was fun. These are a set of 3. No, I take that back. They're not either. These little containers are just a metal container that's got this wonderful little verdigris green done on them. These are up in the middle room up here. It comes in a large container. It comes in a round, and it comes in the square. These particular ornaments that I've used in this had kind of that reddish cranberry color. Again, that vine, and I used a lot of this vine simply because that big old wad of stuff, and we try not to leave leftovers for them to have to deal with, so we try to use everything that we cut up and use. So when I started pulling that thing apart, I put it in everything so we wouldn't have any leftovers. These are just wadded up and tucked in. Now, probably would glue them in mechanically to make it, but that stuff, it just sticks to everything. You can't hardly, it isn't going to go anywhere. But these ornaments are above us in the Christmas room upstairs. They're on the bottom shelf on the wall. There's a set of three. There's three different styles. There's a sphere around and kind of this little dome pick. This wonderful magnolia foliage. This is actually in a plastic poly, but it looks great. It's got a lot of good color to it. Some wonderful pine boughs worked into this. And these three pieces are just done with a collection of just picks, whereas we take a pick like this, pull it all apart, and then that's one pick worked in. I want to show you the mechanics on this little guy, if I didn't glue him down. I take the crowns off. I'm one of these people too. Rena was working with some ornaments and she was gluing with the crowns up. I don't like looking at the crowns unless it's really decorative and looks pretty, then I'll leave it. But I always take the crowns off, take the crown off. I take my little witch's wand, get quite a bit of glue on it, let it drip down in that hole, and I just put one of my silk stems that I've cut off that I've saved, put that down in there, and I just prop them up somewhere and just let that stand and dry for just a few minutes. Then I take my pick machine, put my pick on it, and then that's how I'm inserting everything of this. These are glass, so you have to be a little bit careful with them. This is the thing you do not want to do. You don't want to take this and shove this down. The glass is going to break and that metal thing's going to come up. You want to get a hold of the stem and push that in with the stem. I do put my hand up here just to be a little safe, but a lot of material there. But I'm not happy with the way that's looking. Let's go back in there. There we go. Sink him down a little bit. But again, just some the wonderful cones glued in and just minimal amount of a pick with a little bit of the magnolia foliage worked into that. Yeah. That piece, Rena, tell her how much that is.
36.
This one's 45. Now this one here is a very special arrangement. This is a sphere, grapevine sphere ball. I took my wire cutters and just cut around and opened it up and made a nest out of him because I wanted to nest. I'm not sure I can do this because nope, it ain't gonna do. Actually, I picked it down. I took the top and I cut it apart. Then I took the top and I just stuck it back down in the bottom so that both pieces are here to create a nest. Put some moss in. You could put some little eggs and such, but this looked, I didn't think needed the eggs, especially by using the deer antlers. Again, those ornaments worked in, the magnolia foliage, some of the cranberry berries in this, and again, that's all done in our silk foam and such, and this is done in the round container. Now here's the special part about this arrangement. You ever have things in your store that get broke and you try to figure out what you're going to do with them? Are you a master at it? Yeah. I love stuff like this. He had one horn. He became a doe yesterday. Transgender. The little man that works for Jim here that does all his electrical, and he's a genius at fixing stuff and whatever, he was out back working on some stuff, and I had that deer there with one horn on it, and I thought, I can't just throw that thing in the trash. You couldn't glue it. This resin is just, and plus these are really heavy horns, and there wasn't any glue going to hold it. So I asked the little carpenter guy, I said, can you cut that horn off for me? And he said, sure. And he went off out there somewhere, and we could hear him. A few minutes he come in, and here's the deer, and he took a sander, a little rasp sand, metal, filed it down. Then I took the 24 karat gold on a pipe cleaner, made me a little wand, sprayed it on, and brushed it, and fill that. Actually, there was a little crack here. Took my pan glue on my little witch's wand, tiny little bit of glue, and held it above it and let it drip in that little tiny crack. I don't even know where it is now. And then after it dried good, I made sure it was good and flat in there, then took my paint and just airbrushed and then brushed back over it and became a little dough, okay? So it's a one and only, okay? We've used it with the buck, so it's like a set of a dough, and so if you're looking for the sets, there's no sets. It's just that was a mistake. But then he came back to me and brought me the horns, and he said, I figured you'd want the horns. And I said, absolutely. So again, these horns, because of the weight of these, is what I done was I just took a floral stem that was kind of a medium gauge, taped with brown wire. I took that horn and I took that floral stem and wrapped around it and twisted it on as tight as I could get it, leaving about probably 2 inches of floral stem on there, put it on my pick machine, a lot of pan glue on that pick, and then picked it in so that these are good and secure in this design, and just used the horns just coming out the edge of this so that we could repurpose the horns without, again, throwing the whole thing in the trash because of being a damaged piece. All right, well, that ain't good. Okay, then we've got the bigger container. This again is just the larger container in the green. And here we've used the sphere balls. This is the orb that I cut in half to make the nest. You could even do it with the small ones. Again, the wonderful branches. And these are just filled with pine, the magnolia, the berries. Just calling this, and I got my name sheets. I wanted to tell you, we have all this fun stuff. What did it do? It's in my iPad, sorry. We'll get it out here. That's the afternoon show. This look, we would call this Fun in the Snow. Just come up with some cute names. Fun in the Snow. It's a little snowman. Fun in the Snow. Got to look at my tables here. Gilded Flemish Christmas. This is Gilded Flemish Christmas. Has nothing to do with Finland or nothing probably. Just a clever name that they're going to come in and you're going to have a little marquee standing there that says Gilded Flemish Christmas, and they're going to come up to your checkout and go, I love those balls you have in that Flemish. Have you got more of those? And you're going to say yes. And you're going to sell them whatever. Cardinal Jubilee. Doesn't have to say Merry Christmas, Noel. Anybody can say snowman on the mountaintop or whatever. Give it some cute, fun name. Cardinal Jubilee.
Makes them sound more expensive.
Yeah. Yeah. This one I kind of like because of it being ducks and geese and whatever. This one we named Winter's Warmth. Has nothing to do with the name, but it just gives it a nice ring to the names and all. Okay.
Oh, and that's just loose berries in a vase that's on special.
Taking your everyday containers, work them into your Christmas displays. So this became a Flemish vase. And she just did some berries and magnolias. Again, it's letting the customer see that there's stemmed berries there to buy, X amount of dollars per stem. Do a lot of little tent cards, stemmed berries. Paint a picture.
How much is this one?
This little fella here is $45.
And the base?
It's hard to believe, but I actually saw upstairs that it's marked $7.50, and it was $37.
$7.50, it was $35. So, and then here's just a fun thing I wanted to show you. This is just done on styrofoam, and you'll notice a very minimal amount of styrofoam on the bottom. It's covered with velvet ribbon, or if we didn't have any just true, I'd usually cover these just in a solid green velvet. I use just some velvet ribbon. Never put styrofoam directly, not covered with something, on somebody's piece of furniture, because when they slide it down on their dining table to get it out of the way, because the husband don't want to have it on the table for dinner, but you got it there because it's Christmas decorations, when they slide that styrofoam on that furniture, it's just like a Brillo pad or a scratch pad. It's going to ruin their furniture. So always put fabric or something on the bottom of your styrofoam if you know that's going to be what you're using. These little guys have become my very best friend. We do tons of party work, tons of event work. I'm always needing trays to go on ledges in churches, baptistry ledges, weddings, events, parties, whatever. I even build these when I have churches come to me and they want me to build maybe something to go on the baptistry. I will take this thing. You girls think I'm crazy. This is driving me nuts. We're going to have to get the sound man to do something different. I will take these because this is so lightweight. Let's say, for instance, I put my silk foam in here and this customer wants nothing but maybe, say, English ivies and whatever billowing over the front of the baptistry in a church, or maybe up on a buffet or something in their home. That's fairly light, and the weight of this is probably going to pull that over. I will take tile, bathroom tile, and I will glue them onto the bottom of this. If they will fit, I will glue them in here to create weight. So that will sit up there and not do this. Then if I put my tile, which a 4x4 tile will fit in these, I will glue those all in here to create the weight I need. Then I'll put my silk foam on top of that, then do my design. But these are wonderful for event work, party work, weddings, any place that you need. They come in a variety of sizes. And for instance, this piece here could have went in this size really easily, creating a wonderful container, inexpensive, so that it's not scuffing up my customers' furniture. Pan glue. I use pan glue for everything. I don't even have a glue gun at my station. My girls have one over their stations, but I use pan glue for everything. It's just quicker, faster, easier, not as hot, don't get burnt. I hadn't been burnt with hot glue in years just because I use that pan glue. You literally can put pan glue. I keep mine at 270, somewhere along there. You can stick your finger in it and pull it out. It's hot, but it don't burn you, Don't put your finger in it, but just telling you that it's a lot safer. But be sure, if you haven't used these, if you're not familiar with these, be sure to check these out because they are wonderful for event work. They're wonderful for design work. Nice little inexpensive container for centerpieces. Put your foam in, your candles. Wonderful little product for that. And Jim's got lots of these, and they're upstairs where all the baskets and things are in that area. All right, lunch ready. Okay, we are going to put, we're going to move the designs onto tables. We'll put bid sheets on them. They'll be out this afternoon if y'all want to go up the street. Be sure that you have shop time. We're going to be back here at 1:30. Everything will change, and we have a whole nother segment this afternoon, and we hope you enjoyed it this morning. All righty. Everybody have a good lunch? Good lunch. That gentleman does a great job. We are going to get started this afternoon, and as you can see, we've transformed. The bidding stuff will stay out there in just 15 minutes. Once we get the bid sheets on this, I'll just kind of holler out and we'll say 15 minutes on the bidding, and then we'll close it all, okay, on both the morning and the afternoon stuff. We hope that you're enjoying this and getting some good out of it, and get some thoughts and some ideas, and just sharing information with each other. And if you have thoughts about things or whatever, well, you just shout out or let us know, and we'll go from there. Let's start down there. Does that sound good? Yeah. All right. Somebody had asked us during the break about pricing on this, and we touched on it this morning and everything. By buying pre-made things already done, there's a little bit of an investment there, but you literally are going to take that home, mark it up $10 or $15, and you're virtually doing nothing to it, and you're putting it out on the shelf. So it's a good investment. I love going and attending other programs and shows, and if there's stuff that I see that I like, I'm going to try to bid on it because it's a different look for me, but I'm going to be able to go home, add my goodies that I know I have that would go with that look that I already have in my store, and I've got a display instantly done without spending quite a bit of money for the materials and such. All right. We were talking about names this morning. We had fun. The Cranberry Christmas or the Country Christmas down there. This one we called Woodland's Bounty, and just by using the deer, and I think the deer are gone. Somebody said a while ago they were looking for these and such, but I think they may be gone already. This particular deer on the mantle behind Rena is laying down. You can just leave her up there. Is laying down deer, and the material as far as making that, I took the big pine boughs. There's 2 pine boughs, one coming out the front side, one coming out the back side. They had pretty long stems on them. There was no foam, there was nothing in that. I literally took my glue pen and run those stems crossing over to kind of bridge in between the grapevine of the deer, and then everything is glued in on top of that, almost virtually kind of through the same area in the grapevine. I didn't go different angles. I tried to keep it low and all go into virtually the same angles. That's literally just all glued just through and through. Once I got the base of it done with the pine and the poinsettia, we went back in with the artichokes, a few of the pine cones, some of the magnolia foliage, and then all of the wonderful little branchy stuff coming up, that's all glued down in behind where the braiding is crossed through. So that virtually has no foam. You could attach a piece of foam to the edge of that and build on that, but lots of times I find that that foam gets real floppy on the edge if you try to tie it onto something. So in that piece, it's just all stuck through the grapevine and glued together. That grapevine is tight enough too that I didn't have to go back with any moss or anything to tuck in there to try to hide any of my mechanics of the way that's glued. It's virtually so tight that none of that is showing in there and such. But that's the laying down deer. And then we had the, go ahead guys, freight train coming through. Then we had the little smaller stand-up deer. This one I did use a piece of foam, and this I took the deer and it has just a small little 4-inch block of foam that's glued here to the front. I attached it to the leg, then pan glued the foam to the leg, and then I did take that little bind wire that we showed you this morning when we tied the bow. I did run that through the foam and then around the leg and tied that with brown and secured that even more so mechanically so that it's tied to the deer. And then on this one, those wonderful, it's took Russellville about 3 to 5 years to get ready for platinum. We can't sell silver of any kind. It will not sell. Platinum, they liked it, but they weren't buying it very good the first year or two, and I've carried it for 2 or 3 years now because I love it. We do a platinum tree. We took the platinum tree, we put tons of chocolates with it last year, and it finally took off, and people bought it really well, but it's been on the floor in various materials and items and things for 2 or 3 years, and they come in and they ooh and ah, and they even take pictures of the tree and think it's beautiful. Wouldn't buy a thing off of it. But last year we put a lot of chocolate with the platinum and they bought it. This look would sell great in our area mainly because we've woodsed it up by putting the deer in it and everything. So by using the platinum and again a little bit of the brighter kind of in the silver platinum, and then with the gold in the cedar just as an accent, it's kind of got a little bit of a platinum cast to it but with the gold, and then really strongly brought in a gold just to give it a little bit of glitz. But I love the ornaments in the bales, and those are up above us in the room, above us down on the other end, and there's various sizes and styles and shapes of those. You'll find those up there. The platinum horns come on just 2 horns on one, just 2 horns on a stem. This one is $67, and again everything's just worked into that one piece of small foam and then minimized it just with some of the beautiful pine. I think when you're buying greenery and such, if you can buy a lot of line greenery, Rena and I are line greenery fanatics. I will buy tons of what we call line greenery, anything that's skinny and long and tapers. I'll buy tons of it. Anything that's short and clumpy and whatever, because you can have fun with this stuff. And in this particular design, there's virtually no greenery in this except the pine. It's just these wonderful pine pieces because you can get so much movement and flow that's generated from line greenery. So we use tons of line greenery. Rena is a master with, we mentioned this morning about garlands. She'll take a garland. You may have some old garlands and you'll think, I'll never get rid of these garlands. Take the wire cutters to them, start cutting those suckers up. And anytime you need little small pick pieces to hide mechanics and such in foam, use up those old garlands and such. Don't just keep buying more small picks. Buy gorgeous line greenery that gives you a lot of flow and movement. That's, yeah. Hand me that pine pick, Rena. Here, I'll get him. When I decorate a Christmas tree, Rena, let me give you this, please. When I decorate a Christmas tree, we'll get that tree fluffed, and we've already know what theme we're going to give it. We will have probably 10, 15 to 20 different styles of boughs like this or line greenery. And the first thing I do to a Christmas tree is I take about 2 dozen of these and I insert them into that tree. You can take a pencil tree or a tree that doesn't bell too much, and you can insert these from side to side, and that tree will just do this, and it just comes alive. And then on our trees, we will do a form that's done on a really beautiful, my wife's a major scrapbook. We have a bedroom that's a scrapbook room. She teaches it, she lives it, she breathes it. Anything that's ever made scrapbook, we have it. But I'll go home and I'll say, I need, and I'll take her my list, whatever I've done with it. I'll take her my list and I'll say, I need Bountiful Christmas. And it will list everything that's on that tree. And of course, everything's priced. And these are hole punched, tied with beautiful ribbons, and this is hanging right on the front of that tree, and it says Bountiful Christmas. And it will list everything that's on that tree. Key to success and a lot of selling, and it takes a lot of work. Doesn't take that much time, but once you get used to doing it, it's pretty easy. Once you start putting these items on that tree and you make this list, there's 12 of these bountiful pine boughs on there. There's 12 blah, blah, blahs. I literally, and I'm sure some of y'all had, I've had customers walk in and say, how much is that tree just like it is? Well, I can just about go by this if I know not much is sold off of it yet, if it's early enough in the season. And I can tabulate that, and I'll say that tree's about $5,000. And they're like, and I've literally, at one shop in Fort Smith one year, a man walked in and bought a tree like that and wanted us to put it in his car. Now, it was ridiculous. We didn't. And he didn't want us to undecorate it. He wanted us, we ended up taking the top off. We spent 3 or 4 employees spent time tying most of the ornaments on the tree because he didn't want the stuff took off of it because he wanted it to look just like that. And of course, we offered everything there was. We'll come to your house, we'll redecorate. No, I love it just like it is, and it won't look the same. He was odd. But anyway, we loaded that tree best we could in the delivery van, laid it down, and took it to his home and put it up. His wife had been out of town. She was coming home for Christmas, and I don't know what the story was, but he wanted to surprise her with this fabulous tree. But anyway, if you'll list this stuff, it gives people an idea, plus it helps your selling power for them to know, oh, they've got 20 ornaments of that on there. They may not buy 20, but they're going to buy 10 maybe, or they may buy 5, whatever. Instead of picking up 2 or 3 thinking, I'll tuck them on my tree, they're going to look at that tree and see that list and go, wow. But we sell tons of this stuff, mainly because we embellish. Every tree is embellished. We had a tree last year that we did. The big tree was in the left of the door, and Rena was talking about tree limbs. We went to some trees. If you know trees, you know the good ones. Sassafras trees grow perfectly. When the limb comes off a sassafras tree, they come out 4 points up that, and they're shaped just like a little tree. They don't grow like normal trees come up and branches just kind of do whatever. These are perfectly even. We would cut those at whatever height, spray them white, make those Easter trees. Anybody back in the day, did y'all make those Easter trees in cute little pots and we painted them white and they hung Easter eggs on them? Well, we went to those sassafras trees because of the way they grow, and I would cut those limbs off, and we shot 7 and 8 foot limbs out of the top of this tree. Some of them I had to attach to the ceiling to keep them, but all these tree limbs just burst out of the top of this tree. And then we took all those limbs and they come out of that tree. There was literally, stripped the foliage off of them, just the branches, just shooting out of that tree. It was a woodland tree. Couldn't keep it decorated. The girls were like, we're out of the, I know several of you today have been buying the little wooden deer ornaments and the little wooden trees and all that woodland looking stuff that's going on right now. We had that tree with so much of that stuff on that tree. But by doing this, it says there's 100 wooden 3-inch trees. And they're like, well, I can't put 100, but I can put a dozen. But people bought more because they kind of had a plan. And it also told them this was a 12-foot tree and it has 4,000 lights on it. Because they ask us all the time, how many lights are on that tree? And sales clerks need to know. I think our industry, this is just, and a lot of things I'm sharing with you today, this is stuff she and I have experienced. It's our personal thing that we deal in our own stores. I think the biggest downfall in just general flower shops nowadays is customer service. It's the worst. Hi, Linda. Love you. It's customer service. Yeah. No. Yeah. I was waiting until she left. What was I saying? We were talking about the worst. The worst. The worst was the hotel we stayed at this weekend. You talk about customer service that stunk. Oh my goodness. From the moment we got there until I left this morning, we were still complaining. No, Duncan. Dead bugs.
What?
I'm not even going to. That has nothing to do with floral. Live bugs, dead bugs, you name it, everything.
They named it the Super 8, but I now renamed it the Super Hate.
The super hate, yeah. It was bad. And Linda and them took care of us. They took care of us. Yeah, but anyway, back to what we were saying. We have people that will literally buy off these sheets and put them on. Name your displays, name your trees. People will call on the phone, but it's customer service. I am always amazed at the customer service on phones with florists. And that's why we're seeing all these chains and all these other people absorbing our business. We bust ourselves out to be friendly, kind, know what you got. Good morning, Kathy's Flowers. This is Joe. How can I help you today? What color roses do you have? I don't know. Let me go see. I hate that line. Your sales girl should come in of a morning and be made to know that they go in the cooler and they go, we've got red and we've got confetti and we've got this and this and this, and that's laying by the phone. Sir, we've got confetti, red, we have an absolutely gorgeous peach. It will knock your wife off her feet. What do you think you're going to sell? Yeah, and it just drives me crazy, but that's just a Joe thing, okay? But it's customer service. I think that one of our biggest downfalls is that it's in customer service. Cleanliness of stores. Oh my goodness. We have a girl in our store, and that's all she does, cleans. She has the horriblest job. I take good care of her. Clean the track on the coolers, clean the front door, clean the trim on the door. This past week, I went to the smoothie shop and took the girl purposely, when she'd come to the window with my smoothie, I would reach out and pull the cobwebs off the window. 3 mornings in a row, and finally she leans out and goes, oh, we need to clean that. I said, yeah, 3 days ago. I'm not that kind of a person. I'm really not. I'm a very loving, kind, and I would generally say, have you got a rag and I'll clean this counter off for you. But it's just, we downfall in just because we get caught up, and some of us, we're so busy that we just get caught up in the moments and we don't realize what's going on. But it's, and train your people. Whether there's a girl that cleans or the person that's designing to whatever, But I think it's customer service, but we just really need to work on that. And anyway, we'll get off that. That's just free advertisement. But Christmas trees, chunk them full of branches, make you a great list that tells that customer exactly what they're looking at, what they're seeing on that tree. They may have a 4-foot tree at home, but she's going to know, would 6 of those do my tree? Absolutely. Got a little 4-foot tree, whatever. Yeah, break it down. 4-foot tree, 6-foot tree. Tell them how many lights are on this tree, how many lights it takes to do a tree. They may not buy the lights from you, but they're going to go to Walmart or somewhere and go, Kathy's Flowers had that list, and my tree's 8 foot, and I know I need 12 boxes of lights. They're going to remember you because you're feeding them. You're painting a picture, and you're doing something positive that's feeding into them, instead of them standing at Walmart reading that little box, trying to figure out how many lights they need. Be the positive person, whether you maybe do or don't sell them something. Be the positive, because they're going to remember that and come back. All right, let's talk about this wonderful guy. I love this little basket. Just a little elongated basket, and on this little fella I just took 2 blocks of silk foam and glued it in the container, pan glue, then went back, put just a little bit of the cedar in there, those wonderful magnolia leaves, and I love these kind of platinum looking artichokes. Just put those platinum looking artichokes in there, the little vine orbs, a couple of the big old pine cones in there. This little berry spray here is a pick that there's a ton of it on a big tall pick, and I've used it in 2 or 3 things. One bush of that went into several different things. But it's all wired so you can curl it, you can give it some movement, picked in little branches just to give it a little bit of height and movement and everything. But this would be even kind of a good transitional piece. I could see this going, you know, not even so much for Christmas, but it could start early, you know, winter and go all the way through Christmas and such. It could be a good transitional piece. But just a fun piece that's got a lot of elements in it with the orbs and vine balls and different things in that nature. There's $43 of materials in that and such. That piece there would probably be anywhere from $89 range to 90 something in our store. So if I bought that for $43, I'd take it home and I'd probably put another 30% on it. We talked about markups this morning. You know, even if you sold it for $75, you made 40 something dollars on it and you didn't touch it. You just put it in your display and marched on. Okay, this deer was grand. This deer is also a setting deer, but its back is open, so you're able to work out of the back of it. This deer is solid laying down. This little guy's standing, and then this one, the back is open. And again, just that wonderful pine giving us that nice elongated movement. The platinum poinsettias in that, the platinum antlers, and again, just this is a little silk willow that's up in the fall section on the floor in a box up there. There's about 8 or 10, I think, pieces of this to a bundle. Again, we use that in several different things. And this is that pick that's got all this cut on it. You can take a lot of good cuts off this and move it into several different arrangements. But I like it because it's all wired. You can give it a lot of movement and such. A little bit of the cedar in there. Again, just a little hints of that bright, bright gold. Kind of pull it together. And then the ribbon, if you haven't seen the ribbon up here, it's in the room above us. This wonderful ribbon that's got all the deer decals on it. There's several different styles of that. Some little vine balls tucked in really deep into this. But again, that's just a foam piece. And in this one, I put the foam in, and then I went from the bottom. I actually took the piece of foam, took a piece of wire, taped it, run the wire down through the foam so that the wire came out of the bottom of the foam, set my foam down in there, let the wire go down through the deer, and then twisted it so it's secured. I did glue it also, and then twisted it and secured it, and then double stacked another piece of foam on top of that one, and then built the design. I like my foam typically to come up at least 1.5 inches, 2 inches above the lip of the container. Let me see that pick again, that greenery pick. I like my foam to come up above my container a good inch or so, even in fresh work, for the fact that if that's up there and I want to do an insertion from the side, I can work here. If my foam is below the lip of my container, I'm putting this in like this and then trying to achieve this. But if your foam is already up, even fresh work, silk work, same thing. If it's up above the lip of the container, then you can come in with good insertions from the sides either direction. Whereas if you leave your foam down below the lip, you're always bending, doing that bend, especially in fresh work. You can't bend those flowers like that unless you wire it. But if you leave your foam up good, then you can work off that. Makes your whole work a little bit easier and such. But anyway, another just grand, glorious. So again, we're building sizes, shapes, styles a little bit different, but yet all complementary pieces to build a vignette. This one's got $81 of materials in it. I'd probably put $125 on that real easily and such. And then also Jim, Linda have got some great runners this year. There's some beautiful runners. Yeah, pardon? And pillows, yeah. But some really great runners and such. So be sure that you check out those.
What else can I say?
Yeah.
You're gonna have to screw.
Yeah. This bell that was hanging here this morning, that bell that was hanging, this is actually one of those toggles that you put up in the ceiling and you screw it backwards and it tightens up. They could do that if they're willing to put that in their ceiling. Nicer homes, they're not going to do that probably. But if any place that has that track, you know, type ceiling, drop ceiling and such, those hooks Rena spoke of are wonderful. We use them, and we use one that's just kind of one-sided. You put it up on the edge of the track and you twist it and it just locks on. And you can hang up to 45, 50 pounds off those things, one of them, and they're plastic. But you have to order them from a hardware store, can get them for you and such. But anyway, all right, who likes door prizes? Now, I have one rule about door prizes. Y'all ever watch Price is Right? You have to jump and scream and run down here. No, not only that, you have to be present to win. I'm not going to call somebody's name, and if they're not in this room, guess what? I'm going to put their name right over here. But you got to be in the room to win a prize, all right? So that makes it more fair for the rest of us. All right. Come here, Vanna. Read it to us.
Fox color gourds. What?
Glasses.
Eyes.
Fox, Oklahoma. They must be gone, or they'd be saying something.
Draw again.
Fox color guard.
Fox ran off.
Nita's Flowers and Gifts in Marlow, Oklahoma.
All right. There you go. Guess what? You're all getting another blue bag. Except these are filled with goodies. They missed it. Keep going.
Buzzing Around Flowers in Walter.
All right. Let's do one more.
Madeline's in Edmond, Oklahoma.
Woo! There you go, dear. All right. Yep, you got to be here to win prizes at this show. Okay, good. What is the website or anything to go to? Okay. All right, everybody listen up. Great announcement. marlowfloral.com. If you want to write that down, if you can't remember it. marlowfloral.com. All the floral designs just went online. So
Went viral.
they just went viral. So if you want to go on there later, you're in your store and you're thinking, you know, I sure like that redbird thing he made. What was that thing? And you're going, I don't know. Didn't you take pictures? No, I thought you took the pictures. You go on to marlowfloral.com. You can look through all the designs that we made. He shot the tables. Did you shoot the tables?
They are not yet.
Okay. He shot the tables even set with the props. So there may have been benches or tables or candlesticks or whatever that you've seen that later on you think, I wish we had those candlesticks. You'll be able to call them and say, hey, that picture's got the white reindeer, the red candles that are flickering. Sold out, sorry. No, teasing. Okay. Let's go this route. We'll finish up.
With nothing on them. You did that.
Oh, I did do that, didn't I? Sorry. I was looking at her like, talk, but I did this piece. I love this container. Just a beautiful container. It's kind of hard to see, but it's got these beautiful deer antler heads on the sides for the handles and such. Just a really, really pretty container. Again, just a couple small blocks of foam in there. I'm a chintzy person when it comes to, I want good mechanics, but I get chintzy with the foam. So lots of times in deeper containers, I'll build that up with styrofoam. Not that it's any less expensive than the other foam, but I don't want to waste my silk foam, so I'll do silk foam to build it up, and then I put my styrofoam in the bottom rather, and then I'll put my silk foam on top that I'm actually going to design into. I like to work in silk foam just because it's a little bit easier than trying to work through styrofoam, and that's just, and again, it's a Joe thing. But here again, this branch comes with the little millimeter ornaments already on it. That's just one piece put right in the top. Did a magnolia in the front, got a poinsettia in the back. These particular ornaments here are just an ornament. I pulled the crown off of it. I put hot glue on my silk stem, pushed it back into the ornament, put my steel pick on there, and then just work that right back into your design. There's three ornaments in this. These ornaments actually I think are one and onlys. There may be 3 more left up there. They were kind of in an area where there was just a few little odds and ends, but I wanted a red glitzy looking orb to go in these, so I saw those and so I snatched them up. This little flocked snow pine cones, they're in this room over here. If they're not gone, they're about halfway down on the left-hand side. They're in the center of the aisle. Love these. We've used these, the little trees this morning, all the little redbird trees. This is the cones that I cut off. I just took and cut every cone off those, and all those little cones that went into those trees, that was this particular one. Inserted this branch again, and then just minimal amount with the pine. I love the movement that anything coming out gives you. It just again, it's like taking a Christmas tree and adding those branches. It just blooms. It really makes it come alive, not so stiff. This one had 2 picks that was a heavier greenery, had a little bit of a pine on it that I put in each side, and then put a small garland that we were cutting up, a little bit of it in the front and the back. And then this particular pine here was a pine that had 3 little cuts on it, and I took that cut, when I cut one off, I cut it in half, and I used a little bit of it taller and a little bit of it shorter tucked in, and that's worked into that particular design all the way around. But anyway, just something a little more dressy, a little more elegant looking. This piece has got $82 in material, but mainly it's in the container and such. And then our garland that's on the table. Before I talk about that, I want to just mention one thing here. We do, like I mentioned this morning, we do a lot of party and event work. I would have clientele that would come in, and I might have a full garland of this running in a window that we might do where I wouldn't have this lit, but I would have lights in this lit in a window, but have all this red hanging in multiples and heavy. I've had customers come in and say, would you rent that for a party? Absolutely. If I can't sell it, don't know if I'm going to sell it, but probably do, but would you rent it? Absolutely. Rent it. We rent a lot of things. We had a lady several years ago that a lady come in our shop after an event, and she was shopping and she kept looking at some pieces, and finally we had greeted her and visited with her and left her alone to shop a little bit, and I went back out and she said, I was at a friend's house this weekend at a party, and she said, this just kind of looks familiar to me. And I said, no, I don't remember her name now, but I'll make up a name. Jeanette Taylor. She went, yeah. And she said, did she have that too? And I said, yes, ma'am. We finally caught on. This lady was coming in randomly at times and would take stuff on approval and was having these parties, and then this lady happens to come in and recognizes all the stuff. Now, I've had that happen with Christmas stuff too, because they would want to know if we'd rent it. We rent it, but we install it. They don't touch it, because I would rent this garland to somebody. We install it, and we pick it up the morning after your event. And X amount of whatever, you know, we do a percentage of what it retails for is how we do our rentals, plus delivery, setup, installation, and pickup. And they don't realize it that they could have just bought it and had it. But you know, but that's the thing. I can rent it for a weekend for $120 and put it on their buffet, run it down the middle of their dining table, whatever, you know, bring it back and sell it. Yeah. So to say that some pieces, yes, we would rent them for events, bring them back, put them back in retail. Yeah. Any way to make a buck, I'm going to do it. Yeah. Going to do it. I'm real trigger happy about telephones and things. You know, people talk about.
How did you handle that customer when she came back in the next time?
She had to put, yeah, because at that point, good question. She wanted to know how did I handle that customer the next time she came in and wanted to take some stuff on approval. Our policy had changed, Ms. Johnson, and our policy now is for items going out, we have a 75% deposit has to go down on them. She wouldn't even put a deposit down on them to take them home. And plus, when she brings them back, she only gets a percentage of that deposit back. And I only did it with her because I caught on to what she's doing, and she never came in again. Not even as a customer. We never saw her again. She was using us for parties, borrowing stuff. Yeah. So anyway, it was just one of those things. I lost my train of thought now what we was talking about, but you're welcome.
Oh, you were talking about
The garland, yeah. But anyway, garlands, when Rena and I are setting the store and we're building and all, we put garlands, buffets, we run them down tables, we drape them off tables, we do everything you can do. We don't just consider a garland going on a mantle. I love garlands running right down the middle of dining tables more so than a centerpiece. If I've got electrical and I know we're doing something where I've got electrical I can work, we might chunk that thing full of lights and somehow or another pull their table apart enough with the leaf that we can get electrical cords down, push it, then we fabric it, because again, this is very scratchy and it's going to ruin her $1,000 table, and I'm not buying it after Christmas when she realizes that it ruined it. So we'll run pretty fabric under it, lay it on there, plug it in, light it up, big candlesticks, boom, 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 boom. So we set a lot of tables with just full glory. We set some with just not as much, giving again that customer the visual idea as they walk through our store that there's $75 and there's $150 and there's $250. That's cute and they love that, but they really like this, you know. So don't just do one size of anything. When we worked at Rebecca's Flowers in Fort Smith, we made, remember the swags, Christmas, made tons of them, hung them all from the ceilings over. Every display had one of this type of a look over it. Couldn't keep those silly things made. So we do a lot of variety in different things. But this garland in particular, it was a pre-made garland that had all the cones in it. Some of the berries and things was in this particular garland, and they're all next door here behind us. But then I went back and just pan glued again the magnolias and the poinsettias, that pine, flocked pine cones again. This little foliage spray, we love this. I order that every year, love that stuff. And just kind of chunked it full, no particular number, rhyme, or reason. I just laid it on my table. And that's the thing too, when you're building stuff flat on your table, you know how it is when you go to hang it up on a fireplace because they want it doing this? It all rolls forward. You know how they do? I build my stuff hanging. If I know that's a custom piece and that's where it's going, I will hang it this way. Don't ever build something flat and then go hang it in somebody's house, because every piece of that design just rolls forward and you're looking at the naked top of the greenery, which is what you really want the pretty part to be. So if I know it's a custom piece, or if I'm doing it in my store to go on the front of fireplaces and such, I will build it that way, knowing that I can unhook it, go put it right on that fireplace, and it's going to have that visual automatically to what I want. Because again, past experience. Her phone is ringing on a Sunday. It better be Jesus. But I have built them from past experience flat, and then go to hang it and that thing roll forward and it's like, oh no. So then you either have to move materials, and if it's a budgeted item and I don't have money to add to it, I can't glue stuff on that back side to try to hide my mistakes. So you learn from your mistakes, depending on where it's going, you know, build it correctly and such. And again, those wonderful candles, I think these are sold even, and they're gone. Somebody else had asked these, had already bought these that we used and such. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful trays. Jim's got some incredible trays this year, and wooden, the silver, the platinums, just some really gorgeous trays. But in your shop, you know, as you're decorating for holidays and things, and whatever the look is, any kind of materials that you've got, if you've got wooden trays and such, lay them down, turn them up, prop them up. This would be fabulous with some piece with candles in the front of it. If you prop this in a display and had, you know, just do unique things with your materials. Do something unique and different about it. I love using Hobby Lobby as in classes. Do any of you teach classes in your shop? Do you ever do fall classes, holiday classes, anything? I think you kind of have to enjoy doing that to do it, because it's a lot of work. We clean out our whole back room. We can hold 25 ladies comfortably in our workroom. And our workroom's half as big as this, I guess, as far as design space where counters are and everything. We can hold 25 people in there, but for years we taught classes. We do spring classes. Everything is worked around birdhouses and birds and just anything to do with nature and springtime and such. Then in the fall we do fall classes. We've done Christmas classes. I've took a couple years off just because I kind of got tired of doing it. But it's great money. We would do a lot of shows that you could do your own program just like this. You can sell tickets to it if you wanted to help offset the cost. You could set up 4 tables if you had room in your shop, invite in whoever, open it up to the public unless you think you're going to get flooded and you don't have room for it. Then you want to have a call in where they would call your shop and say, I have 2 guests that I would like to put on the list for your Christmas show. Design and do exactly what we've done here today and do that in your store. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I do a lot of garden club stuff. Garden clubs are great. You can call your local garden clubs and say, hey, we're going to do a Christmas open house. We'd like to invite your ladies, blah, blah, blah. They're going to come. But anything to get people in your store, because that is just a mini open house, sort of to speak, whether you've got 25 people there or 40 or 50, or you do a full-blown open house. It's just a good way to get people in your store. Any way that you can reach out to your customers. Years ago, we did a, go ahead.
Well, I was just wondering, when you go into a new season,
Mm-hmm.
do you rework some of the pieces that maybe not have sold, or do you take everything away and everything is brand new?
We totally change seasons.
Okay.
Yeah, you're not going to see. The first shop that I ever bought, I bought in February. Well, the shop, the Kathy's Flowers that we have now, was a different shop, different name and everything. My mother and I was managing, well, Rena and I were working in Fort Smith then at Rebecca's, and my mother-in-law wanted to buy this little shop in Russellville. And it was a little shop, wasn't hardly much bigger than this whole room all put together. And that particular shop, we went and looked at it in February. She had all Christmas out. It was already past Valentine's, and it was still had Christmas stuff all in there. And I didn't want any of it. We bought the van, the cooler, and the accounts only, is all we bought. And we moved, we gutted that building out and completely redid it and filled it full of spring stuff because it was pushing spring. Yeah, and started there, was there 6 years, moved to another location 6 years, then we built a brand new store and we've been there 25 years or something. I don't know how long we've been in that building. But yeah, change your seasons, absolutely. Oh yeah, yeah. And we change our shop. Our shop, as far as visual looks, Rena's the same way in her store. Our shop changes looks 6 times a year, not seasonally. Move displays, everything. It's hard to do that, you know, and you've got to have good help to do it, and unless you're just one of those die-hard workers like I am and you just do it kind of, but I've got good help, and Rena and I work close together. She does a lot of freelance for me. She comes,
I can do it for you too.
yeah, and she'll come to your stores. Do it, yeah,
Love
yeah.
display and
Our biggest desire in life, we have a close friend too that has a florist. Our biggest life changing moment for us would be to a team that would literally, someone would call and say, come redo my store, kind of like fixer-upper, it's florister-upper, yeah. And just come in and literally give us sort of free reign to make your shop look like this, and we can do it. We've done it. Yeah, we've had shops that would call us and say, could y'all come for 2 days? And I don't want to see anything that looks like me in my shop, because we're hungry for something new. And that's the thing about customer service and something that's different. Never have a straight shot to the checkout. Y'all may know that. I need to pay my bill. Ding, out the door they went. Ooh, that's cool. Ooh, 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 ooh. Oh, I love that. Oh, I gotta have this. Oh, I need to pay my bill. Makes the biggest difference in the whole world. We have too many straight shots to the checkout. Yeah, you come in my front door, and some of the ladies have been there. You have to go around big displays to ever get to the checkout. I want you shopping, looking, whether you just come in to pay your bill or whatever. Yeah, it's fun. And she bought. Yeah, she even bought. She's a florist. Per dumb girl, as we say in our store. But anyway, just fun. But just little things that make the biggest difference in the whole world. Yeah, just biggest difference. All right. Commercial. This is a gorgeous container. They're on this wall right here. I wish Jim would walk through here. They're $24 for 4, so they're like $6 a piece. But a gorgeous container for the holidays. Beautiful embossed deer on the front of it and such. This kind of gray platinum, I love this color and such, but just a nice container. These were a little more expensive than that, and he marked them down for the show. He's got them at 24 for 6. But anyway, just a great upgrade, you know, for plants and things when you need to upgrade poinsettias and different things for the holidays and such. And then this platinum ribbon, Jim's got some really, if you haven't seen some of this ribbon, I love this frayed edge on this ribbon. Just really, really pretty. And we've worked that into the wreath that's hanging up here was just a standard wreath. And on that particular wreath, did my little bind wire get gone maybe? It was in those crates, probably did. I'll just hold it. On that particular wreath, to do the ribbon on that, I just made this. Ducktailed it out, about yay long, and there's 6 of these, and there's 6 red ones. And I just did this, and then went in there and tied it on with my bind wire. I didn't dance the ribbon through it. I didn't twist it. I didn't use yardage and just kept doing this. It's just little loops. So it filled it out really pretty with just the ribbon. Then went back, added the poinsettias, the little millimeter orbs all worked into that. A little red millimeter kind of berry pomegranate looking pick worked into that. And again, that frosted pine cone that just coordinates and keeps all of our same look working together. But I love this kind of gray platinum color. And like I shared with you this morning, can't give silver away. I would probably never sell this silver platter in my store. Don't know why. Got great clientele, got people I think that would buy it. Can't do it, but I can do this. About as far as it goes, yeah.
So you
But
do 6 of those and 6 of the red?
6 of this and 6 red is what's tied into that first, and then I just pan glued everything else into it. Yeah. So that's the ribbon that's in that. But there's several colors of this that has this beautiful little frayed. It's not so much frayed edge, it's a really designed edge, but it's really, really pretty. Yes, sir, I can tell you. I think it's $15, but let me look. I got it, $15.50. Rena and I both turned 60 this month. Does she look 60? No. Do I look 60? No. Nope. All right, moving on. I guess we're down here. Yeah, come talk about these, Rena. These were fun. For those of you that come in after the morning break, signage, 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 not sinus, signage, but 2 poinsettias, 1 picked. There's 2 different types of picks in that as far as the glittered material, but 2 poinsettias, 1 millimeter balls, and then 2 picks of the red spray that's shooting out, and then 1 of those branches that I cut up and used various heights and such in that piece, and then the other pine that looks kind of like trees, that was another branch that I cut up and used. So that whole thing was built in kind of onesie-twosies of about 6 items is all that's in that. And then kind of did the same thing on the mantle, that little millimeter spray shooting up tall. I wanted that one to have some more height. A little fuller with materials and such, but another great piece that could go on a buffet, could go on a mantle and such like we've done. And then also Jim's got these little guys that are in the room next door here behind. These little guys actually, if you get candles in these, and I suggest using real candles in these. I've had these before and I use the artificial candles in them. They're pretty, but they're not as pretty as a real candle. I put 3 candles in these for a party on a lady's step. Rented them to her for $50, 2 sets. Poor dumb lady. I mean that respectfully, y'all. We say that's our line in our shop. My girls will go, "What was I thinking?" I said, "Oh, poor dumb girl," you know, and they do me that way. Poor dumb boy, you know. But Rena, we was working yesterday, and she'd say, "Why didn't I put?" And I said, "Well, poor dumb girl." Yeah, but put 3 chunk candles in here, varied heights, because the real candles give off a lot more illumination and light. Put them on her steps for a party she was doing. Fabulous. They're really pretty. But anyway, Jim's marked these down. These are now on special. They're $35 for a set of 3. It's the large, medium, and the small. I'm not sure, Jim is not here. I'm not sure what the original price was, but they're really pretty, and the deer light up really pretty and such and that. And then Jim brought me another little treasure here, which we have used these, and these are so fun. This is 54 inches long. Some of you probably have had these and used them. These also, this particular one, are water submersible. You can put them right down in water. This last year we had girls that were doing all these vases with candles and such, and we had a girl this spring. We did 15 banquet tables that were 30 foot long. There was 15 rows of them. She called them fairy lights. She bought them online somewhere. And we did all these gardens down those tables and had to string all these fairy lights, as she called them, in those things. But you could think, but what I like about this is the fact that they're long and they illuminate just really, really bright. So something that's really easy, but again, these are actually made for water, but you can put them in anything. And as I've said several times today, this is a Joe thing. I don't like anything that has this light color to it. It's just a personal thing. That looks totally artificial, fake to me. That blue looking light, I want Bethlehem Christmas white lights. You know, that's just me. But they're beautiful, but they're really pretty. And what's really pretty about this is to take these and put them in glass cylinders, and some of you probably have done that. Just fill your vase full of water and just coil these to some extent. And they're kind of hard to get to do, but once you get them down in there, coil them down in vases, and then maybe do a floating candle in the top of it or something with this all lit in a vase. Beautiful for wedding work. We've done these dropped in vases, use a small clear dish setting on top of a glass cylinder with florals on top, that done. We've done them up in the florals on tables, many different ways that you can use them, but they're water submersible, and that's what's really fun about them, because you can use them dry or wet, either way. But Michelle, where are these located? Where the baby stuff is and all? Okay. Okay, but they're on this side of the wall, yeah. So if you're interested in those, be sure to look those up for parties and things like that. Michelle, how much are these, do you know?
They are $4.75.
$4.75, yeah. And do these, even if you buy these, do these as a rental. Batteries are replaceable in them. Do them as a rental. I don't know. Good question. Whoop. We'll see what it says. This one just turns off and on, looks like. There's no instructions, no nothing. No button. It's just a little key lock in the back. But just a fun thing that you could add to anything. Okay, Rena, come here. You got a commercial?
This is the grand prize.
Oh, the grand prize.
And they don't have to be here to win that.
2018?
Dollars?
No. Chevy Silverado. Does anybody have any questions, anything?
Everybody does now on that.
Yeah. Okay, who's from Texas? Yes, go ahead.
I have a question, and you may have said this, and I apologize, but the candles that are the flicky on
Flicky,
kind,
yes.
and then you buy the candlesticks that have the little sticking out thing. What do you do with the little thing that's supposed to hold a real
Cut
candle?
the sucker off.
That's what I thought.
Absolutely. Yeah. Her question is, and that's why these are kind of tilted, because we didn't want to destroy Jim's candlesticks. Yes, I typically cut this off regardless. In our shop, even if I'm working with it, I just cut them off, because I can use any kind of little double-faced sticky to put candles on. If I'm in a client's house and they're wanting something done, I might even suggest to them, you know, sell them these, but then we get them to their house and she's got candlesticks, have that little metal thing, take your wire cutters and explain to her, I can cut that off, then you can put, I said, ma'am, have you ever tried to put a candle on and you're just doing this? And she goes, yes, all the time. She sets it on there, she loves it. So you've kind of made a sale within a sale and made her happy too. But yeah, all of these are remote control, which we love. We do all of these. So many venues nowadays, most of the venues that we're in now doing wedding and event work and such, you can't use real candles in them anymore, insurance purposes. But these are expensive in essence to buy. They're wonderful to use. I love them because if we're up high on balconies and things and we need candles and we're using candles and we just click them. My favorite thing is to set a party for a client and have them come in, you know, previewing at the venue prior to their party or whatever, and have that little clicker in my hand, and they walk in and they're just gasping, oh my gosh, look at this, oh Joe, oh, and I'm going click, click, and it starts coming to life. You know, and that's what's fun, yeah, and because then it just lights up and they're just totally engulfed in it then.
Use a lot of those for rebels. They can.
Yes, ma'am.
That's smart.
I've bought them gradually just because of the price, yeah. And you can find them lots of places, but I have found too, buy good ones. You can find them at dollar stores and whatever, but they don't last very good. Yeah, you're better off buying better ones and batteries and replacing them and doing them, but we love the clickers and everything. All right, one other little thing I wanted to show you here, just a quick little thing. Everybody knows what zip ties are? I was at a program the other day, And this guy was doing zip ties, and this lady says, I use those all the time, but they won't stay. She said, my stuff just falls off of them. And so he explained how to use it. And he said, there's a little real raspy edge, and there's a smooth edge. You want the raspy edge going in so that it drags and sounds like sandpaper and locks. If you put that thing on and go this way, it's smooth and it just slides. That's what she was doing. And of course everything was just coming apart. But zip ties are wonderful when you're doing event work or garlands, holiday stuff. And if you don't want to glue it because maybe it's a little harder or it's a texture that's you're just going to have a hard time maybe gluing it for whatever reason. For instance, like this garland. Let me move this guy. This garland I love because it comes with the bells and everything on it. It's in the room next door. Those horns here actually come in a set of 3. Now that I'm seeing that, there's 3 horns on a stem. I put 2 in that one design. I had 1 left, so I just stuck it here and such. But this is what I like. Rena, come hold this, dear. That way they can see what I'm doing. This is when I love zip ties. Buy brown zip ties so that when you put it in, it's clean and neat. And when you go to do any kind of work like this, you can just put this on and go. Plus, if it's something maybe that you're making for retail and it doesn't sell, and maybe it's some product that you might be able to repurpose, but you don't want these on, just clip it and take it out. Something. But we use tons of zip ties. I keep them in green, red, brown, clear, whatever, but just zip tie. But definitely use brown zip ties with brown on brown. So because looking at this now, I'm seeing that white zip tie in there. That would bug me. So, and the customer may never know, never even think about it, but cut the little tail off. But use zip ties for tying in even a lot of ornaments. Crowns on ornaments, you know how they'll pop off and everything. Lots of times if I'm using those for whatever purposes and we're designing and such, I'll take that crown off and glue and then put it back on and glue it, so that if I'm tying it or working it in, if I know I'm going to put them on that, and I told you this morning I like the crowns down. Rena usually uses the crowns up lots of times because she loves the pretty little crowns.
It depends.
I know it depends, but you like them up. I know. I've worked with you a long time. She hangs pictures like this. I do this. I'll come along and she's moved it back down like this. Yeah, it's fun because we complement designing so much, but yet we're so opposite in so many things. But that's the fun of design, is because everybody, all of us are created completely different. But anyway, let's get to some of the door prizes. Where's our little basket? Right over here. Does anybody else have any questions, anything such? I hope you've enjoyed this afternoon and stuff. And oh, yes. Hold the Silverado pickup truck. Hand that to her, please. Yeah, anybody here from Texas? Well, no wonder you ask. Okay, because I don't know. Where are y'all from?
Sunflower, Taylor, Texas.
Taylor, Texas. I don't know where Taylor, Texas is.
Northeast Austin.
Northeast Austin, my goodness.
They have great barbecue in Taylor, Texas.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
Awesome.
And we're from Byers, Texas.
And where is that located?
We're just across the river from Waurika on Highway 79. First town in Texas on 79.
Okay.
Archer City, Texas,
And where is that located?
south of Wichita Falls, about 20 miles.
Anybody else Texans?
North of Wichita Falls, just as you, on I-44, just as you cross into the river, Burke Burnett.
Burke Burnett. I have an aunt that lives in Burke Burnett. And you're Texan.
Hart, Texas.
Hart, Texas. And where is that located?
Straight west from here, 233 miles.
That's where I was going. She drove 233 miles. Thank you for coming today.
You probably came from.
Well, that's what I'm asking. Are y'all further than 233? 687 miles?
I don't know how far, but I just far.
How many of you are in your group?
4.
All right.
Thank you. You're a good one too. Thank you. I'm with Sunflower also.
All 4 of us.
All right. Oklahoma. Rest of you Okies? Okies. How far? Okie from Muskogee? I lived at Westville. Can you believe that? Armpit of the world. That's where I grew up. My dad was chain store supervisor for Piggly Wiggly Corporation, and the last store that they built that he supervised going up and getting it installed and turning it over to the owners was in Westville, Oklahoma. And right before it was turned over to them, the man backed out of the whole deal, and my mother and dad bought that store. Armpit of the world. God didn't ever do anything good anywhere. It was in that town. Yeah, no, I finished school there, and it was okay. I've got good memories there, but yeah, just a little bitty. My first flower shop was in Westville. Yeah, it was a $25 town. I'll never forget. It didn't matter if you had a casket piece or a silk spray or a plant. $25 is the most they'd spend. Yeah, yeah. Had it 4 years and moved on. Yeah, wanted to do bigger, better things. Yeah, that's great. Who's the farthest? Who's drove 150 miles?
She was 233.
She's Texas.
Oh.
Where?
I'd have to look at my phone.
I'll just give it to that sweet lady. You're welcome. All right. Well, again, thank you all for being here today, spending Sunday afternoon with us. We hope you got some ideas and thoughts and things out of everything. And remember, the website is up. He's got all the pictures up, so go on to marlowfloral.com. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This is good.
Is this for the Christmas, to come to the Christmas
No,
show next
no,
year?
this is for the, Jim, this is for the prom show or anytime through the year. Good for any show that Marlow has in 2018, would almost be 2018 basically. This is good for any show. It says 2017, but we're almost,
But
this
it
is your last
expires-
show. Yeah, but we'll have to talk to them. They can talk to Jim about that.
expires November 1st, 2018.
Yeah, November, yeah, expires November 1st. This is $40 of fuel, one night motel, your food, your fuel, and it's a gift certificate for 2. Don't bring your husbands. Come to Marlow and spend some money. This is great. This is for one night's motel, food, fuel for 2. Expires November the 1st for any of their shows. So 2018. So if you want to come to the prom show, come to the prom show. If you want to come to the Christmas program, come to the Christmas. If Jim has a telefloral show for some reason, whatever you want to do, come. Thank you, Jim. This is great. Great. All right, now, who knows the rules? You got to be in the room to win.
Are all of you here?
Let's hope the first 3 aren't here, okay?
Anybody can win this one. They don't have to be present to win this.
Okay, but I will say, Jim, we did say this has to be an owner. Yes. Okay. I'm glad you kind of said that because that triggered. You have to be an owner to win this. If you are here as an employee under this shop, sorry. I have a consolation prize, okay? You get Rena. So you probably take that. All right. I'm not sure. Emporium, Comanche, Oklahoma.
Cigar?
Is that you? It-
I'm just
na-
at Comanche, so you need to redraw, because that's, I wouldn't use that,
Okay.
because I'm just down at Comanche.
Okay.
So redraw.
Well, bless your heart.
Sweetest, she wins the Sweetest Person Today award, okay? She forfeited the prize because she was too close. That's the first time I've ever done that. That was fun. You didn't win because you was too close. You were way, way out there, and y'all are way out there, and you got prizes. All right, next one. Southern Charm
Eliasville, Texas.
Texas. Are you here?
Well, they don't have to be here, right?
Do they have to be here? Do we want them to be here? I think so. If you stuck it out all day, you should win the Silverado
deserve
Chevy
a reward for
2018
putting up with
pickup
us.
truck. Yeah. More drug, Ringling, Oklahoma. Poor, pitiful baby. Wait. Poor dumb girl. All right. Painted Pony.
Buyers.
That's you. Good. Good. Are you the owner, ma'am? Are you the owners?
We two are close, honestly. We're only an hour from here.
I think it's like what you draw.
Do it again.
Well, you sure jumped on that in a hurry. She said, do it again.
I live right here. I'm not going to get it.
Are you sure?
I'm not going to use it either. I live at Marlow.
Maybe we can find a consolation prize for those two sweet women. Sonic drinks or something on the way home. I mean, hey, I've got Sonic cards that are brand new I've never used. All right, here we go. Oh, let's have a winner.
Boomtown Floral, Brook Burnett, Texas.
All right. Okay, who's more than 3 hours away? Who's more than 4 hours away?
She didn't get anything though last time.
Yeah, she didn't.
She was
Yeah, okay. Since we actually won, can we give ours to her? That's what we should have done.
We're going to have mad people here in a minute. It's going to break out.
We were the first.
The reviews on Facebook aren't going to be good. Love the show, but we hated the door prize giveaway.
We were the first ones drawn, right?
Yeah, you were the first ones that were legal. Are y'all legal?
I am an owner. I'm at Okie from Muskogee, 3 hours and 44 minutes.
Yeah, that's better.
Well, we'll have to do a background check, and we'll.
Hand that back to those ladies. All righty. We are going to thank y'all. Thank all of y'all. We're going to put bid sheets out. It is 3 o'clock, and we're going to only do it for 15 minutes, okay? I could say 3:30, we could say 4 o'clock, but we don't want to keep you here that long. Might be, yeah, and if riots break out, security? Jim, do we have security? No. We're going to put the bid sheets out. When I get the bid sheets all down, it'll be 15 minutes after the last bid sheet goes down. These, okay.